Honorable members, we have quorum. I'll ask the member for Rabaul to lead us in prayer.
Father, we want to say that first and foremost, we worship you. And we worship you because you are the uncreated being who created everything, who created the surrounding environment, and you topped it up, Father, by creating us. So, Father, we are a part of your creation and you own all of us. This afternoon, Father, we humbly come before you to ask you again for the presence of your Holy Spirit to guide us and lead us in our deliberations this afternoon. Father, no one is perfect. We are trying to do something in accordance with your will and for your people here in this country. Forgive us all our trespasses. Cleanse each and every one of us, members of Parliament, with your precious blood and set us right with you. This is our prayer, Sovereign God, and we ask it in no other name but the name of your precious Son, Jesus Christ, who died for us. And we all agree together and say, Amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is.
Honorable members, I have to inform the Parliament of the following dates. On 14 January 2024, of Mr. Brown Sinamoi, a former member of the Chuave Open electorate. He was elected in a by-election after the disqualification of Mr. Robert Yabara under Section 103(3)(c) of the Constitution of the Third National Parliament from 1985 to 1987 and Fourth National Parliament from 1987 to 1992. During those terms, he served as a Speaker of the National Parliament from 1985 to 1987, Minister for Communication from September 1989 to July 1992. On the 25th October 2024, of Mr. Puliwa Kandip Mapikon, a former member of the Tambul Nabilia Open electorate in the Second National Parliament from 1977 to 1982. On the 15th November 2024, of Mr. John Waiko, a former member of Soe Open electorate in the Fifth National Parliament from 1992 to 1997, and Sixth National Parliament from 1997 to 2002. During those terms, he served as a Shadow Minister for Education, Science and Energy in August 1992, Deputy Chairman of Parliamentary Accounts Committee from 1995 to 1996, then Minister for Education in Chen Haiveta government from June 1996 to 1997. Vice Minister for Education following the formation of Skate government in July 1997. The Vice Minister for Higher Education, Science and Technology in December 1997 till 1999. Minister for Education in the Morata government on 26 July 1999. Then Minister for Foreign Affairs from 31st October 2021. As a mark of respect to the memory of the late honorable gentleman, I invite all honorable members to rise in their places. I thank the Parliament. Honourable members, I have to inform the Parliament that I have, in accordance with Section 110 of the Constitution, certified 6 acts made by the National Parliament. Honourable members, this is an announcement to all members of Parliament. We have doctors and nurses from the Port Moresby General Hospital, Cardiac Clinic, and the Crystallization Laboratory here in the Parliament building at B2 Conference Room, conducting medical checks and examination for all members of Parliament. They will be providing this very important service to the members of Parliament from today, Tuesday, the 26th of November to Friday, 6th of December 2024. All members of Parliament are kindly asked to come and visit the special doctors and nurses from Port Moresby General Hospital who are now here in Parliament building. Clerk, any petition? Notices? Clerk.
The Minister for Justice and Attorney General gives notice that he shall present a bill for an act to amend the Income Tax Act 1995 to provide for tax exemptions of judges, pension, and for related purposes. The Minister for Police gives notice that he shall present a bill for an act to A, to make provision for maintaining the internal security of Papua New Guinea by providing measures to combat terrorism and terrorist activities. B, to repeal the Internal Security Act 1993 and for related purposes. The Minister for Provincial and Local Government Affairs gives notice that he shall present a bill for an act to establish the Mulitaka Resettlement Authority and for related purposes.
Honourable members, question time. The Honourable Member for Karamui Nomani.
Thank you, Mr. Assistant Speaker. For the record, it's Karamui Nomane. My question without notice is directed to the good Minister for Administrative Services. This is regarding the ongoing national census. We have been receiving a mix-up reporting in the mainstream media about some provinces completing their census, some halfway through, some not even starting. So perhaps, Mr. Assistant Speaker, to you, can the good minister inform the people of this country through this House as to the status of this very important exercise? Thank you.
The Honourable Minister for Admin Services.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and let me thank the good member from Karamui Nomane for his very important question. Before I respond directly to his question, Mr. Speaker, let me just give a overview of, in contrast with the 2011 census, so there is comparison between the census in 2011 and the current census that we are now undertaking.
Honorable Minister, I would like to ask you to just give a brief of that. You can provide a ministerial statement later. This is question time, so let's get to the question so that we have enough time for members to ask questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll be brief in that response. In 2011, the census that was conducted, the funding was initially issued in 2009. In 2010, the National Statistics Office conducted what they call the household listing survey, which is part of the population count. In 2011, the population census was then conducted. In 2013, the preliminary population count was announced. In 2014, the official census count was announced. So, Mr. Speaker, in contrast with what we are doing today, it took about 5 years to announce from the initial funding allocation to when the census was officially concluded. Today, we have completed most of our counting, and it's only taken us about 6 months to get to where we are. We have already completed well over 333 LLGs, with 32 currently synchronizing. So, Mr. Speaker, from that current synchronization that's taking place, Southern only has 3 more LLGs to complete their syncs. Highlands has about 12 to complete their syncs, LLGs. Momase has about 15 LLGs to complete their sync, and Islands region has already completed their sync. So, Mr. Speaker, so far within 6 months, we have progressed relatively slow, but Mr. Speaker, we are confident that because of so many different challenges that we went through during this particular event, we are concluding within the 6 months period that we estimated to complete. And when we compare it to the last one, it took about 5 years. So, Mr. Speaker, whilst I appreciate the important question, but we also must understand that in contrast to the previous census population count, it took 5 years to conclude, while we should conclude this within months. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Wabek.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. My question without notice goes to the Internal Security Minister, Honourable Peter Siamalili Jr. Mr. Speaker, today I want to ask a series of questions without notice to the good minister. Mr. Speaker, this nation has seen unprecedented escalation of law and order issues and crime. I don't have to go down the list of the heinous crimes because we all live in this country and I don't want to be preaching to the converted. But for those people who actually live overseas and live behind gated communities and live in glass houses, I want to remind us all that it's quite unsafe to live and walk the streets of our country. Mr. Speaker, we have lost the old and safe PNZ in search of a more complicated, utopian and chimerical state. Mr. Speaker, before I do, let me point out 2 important papers, and they're here. And these 2 papers were written by a US government-sanctioned group of researchers, because in the 1990s, the people of USA actually faced similar problems as we are facing, unprecedented law and order issues. And unlike us, they make informed decisions. They do researches. Unfortunately, in this country, we listen to dilettantes, people who have little experience, but people who can speak. In the most powerful country in the whole world, they base their policies based on researches and scientific data, Mr. Speaker. And these are the 2 papers, Mr. Speaker. One is entitled Understanding Why Crime Fell in the 1990s, 4 Factors That Explain the Decline, and 6 that do not. And the second one is written by the National Institute of Justice, sanctioned by the US government. I just want to list the 4 factors, Mr. Speaker, before I go to my questions. Mr. Speaker, the 4 factors that showed, this is a literature review that was done, a systemic literature review that was done, comparing thousands of papers on law and order. And the 4 factors that show and that have an impact, a significant impact on law and order issues is, number 1, increase in the number of police personnel. Number 2, rising prison populations. Mr. Speaker, what it actually means is that arrests are being done by the police. People are being arrested. Number 3, Mr. Speaker, what that means is that they realize that the abuse of crack has actually led to the increasing epidemic. So they decided to put laws to restrict that drug, illicit drug. Number 4, Mr. Speaker, and final point, they legalized abortion. What it means is that there were good family units looking after wanted children and not unwanted children. And those 4 factors have been shown. And in this country, we would say raising children in good homes. And those factors have actually shown to significantly reduce crime. Mr. Speaker, my simple questions are, why has there been no arrest in Enga? And elsewhere, even after there is overwhelming evidence in social media of obvious culprits wielding guns after committing a crime, and those crime lords who are encouraging them and supporting them and funding them. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, as the government lost its authority, power, and legitimacy to effect arrests, you have to tell the good people, Mr. Speaker, the minister has to tell the good people of PNG whether the security forces no longer have the power to do arrests. Because in Enga currently, there has not been a single arrest. As the government lost its legitimacy and authority, Mr. Speaker. Number 3, my good minister, I will give you a good example of one person that needs to be arrested in Enga. That DFAT, the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade of the Australian government, has actually built a beautiful market for the people of Wabek and has costed 13 million kina. After the market was opened, there is one person who enjoys all the contracts from the national government, from the provincial government, and from some districts in Enga, sponsors people to harass women in the market and to chase women and girls out of the market and to ensure that the market remains closed. Mr. Speaker, I want to ask the good police minister. I have raised this complaint personally, and it's 1 year after my complaints have been raised, there has been no attempt to actually arrest that culprit. My good police minister, I have also reached out to police from other provinces to come on board to arrest this person, because I was thinking that police within the province were sort of, aiding and abetting the convict. So what happens? After spending 3 weeks in the province, the police from outside cannot even arrest that culprit, and he lives in the center of Wabek. My good police minister, is this not an example of state-sponsored terrorism? And this is the case nationwide. Mr. Speaker, a fish rots from the head. And when we have 2 sets of laws, one for ourselves in this parliament with our cronies, and one for the ordinary people on the streets, you will see escalation of law and order in the country.
That's the problem.
It is a travesty of justice, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, through you, Mr. Minister, can you tell the people of PNG today that you being unfairly vilified by the people of this nation for the dismal performance of your ministry. You have to be candid and truthful to the people of Papua New Guinea. Are the leaders interfering with your mandated duty? And is this political interference sanctioned by the NSC or the Marape Rosso government? Number 5, why are there no alcohol bans in Enga and other provinces where there's been a rise in law and order? Recently, I attended a medical symposium in Western Islands, and the CEO for Western Islands provided an audit. It indicated that trauma was the leading cause of admission to Mount Again General Hospital. And the leading cause for trauma is alcohol consumption. Now, there is evidence right there for you to use to ban alcohol in those provinces. Mr. Minister, is it too difficult to ban alcohol in those provinces? Is the sale of alcohol more important than the lives of the people?
Honorable Member for Wabek, we have a point of order. Member for Northeast.
My good member for Wabek, the legal ban is authorized by the provincial legal license on this issue of legal ban. But if he's talking about a law and order, he can be specifically. And we got a body that regulates and run the legal business.
Honorable Member, you resume your seat. Your point of order is out of order. It seems to be like answering the question that is the minister will be responsible to answer. Honorable Member, you go ahead, make your speech short and get your question done.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's always good to have people who want to make themselves relevant on the floor of Parliament. This issue, Mr. Speaker. This issue is crippling the country as we speak. And recently, there was a heinous crime connected in the minister's home region.
Honorable Member, make your question.
Mr. Speaker, are you using scientific evidence, my minister? We're getting word from the establishment that law and order will get a huge chunk of funding in next year's budget. So, Mr. Speaker, can the good minister tell this floor, is he using scientific evidence to make informed decisions, or is he simply listening to politicians? The final question, Mr. Speaker. What are your strategies, Mr. Minister, for the coming year? As I'm hearing, law and order will be getting priority in this budget. Are they evidence-based? Have you got any numbers? Has the good Minister for Statistics provided you with any numbers in terms of the families, in terms of good families, in terms of people who are living with other people? You know, those are the things that need to be provided to you to make informed decisions. Because we are already sick and tired of listening to people who come on the floor and speak from their limited experiences. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Minister for Internal Security, before I ask you a question, let me interrupt you. I, on behalf of the chair, look up at the gallery. We have some students from our schools visiting Parliament, and here with us on the gallery, I, on behalf of the Parliament, welcome them to the Parliament. Honorable Minister, you can respond to the question.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Before I do provide a reply to my good member from Wabeg, Honorable Lino, me like kisim sila time to law, given big la tokama mas law, Pom General Hospital. Law continue to provide him service, but me law leaders inside law government because health has always been one of our biggest challenges for this country. So me talk big la mas na acknowledgement. Migim big la talk thank you long. Good la Honorable Member Blomilong asking all this la series of questions. Firstly, let me also take this time to just point out that when you highlighted the United States to Papua New Guinea, they're almost 231 years old. Yeah. We're only 49 years old. That's right. So they're a mature state. So they'll have all the technologies and they will have enough data to be able to provide all that. So My good member, but I do get your point. And everything that we need to be doing in the country must be based on data. And we've always said this, and that's one of the reasons why we also, all of us have been encouraged to ensure that we collaborate with the Minister for Administrative Services law. Make sure you meet us the data below the population, you meet lo guest to us, lo plenty of work below so. That all boils down again to having those data available for us to make decisions. You ask about arresting perpetrators inside Long, Wabeko inside Long, province below Miloenga. My good member, first and foremost, there has to be a formal complaint. Bami must find out this la complaint is stop where so they put him this la complaint or this la particular person that you're referring to.
Honourable Minister, we have a point of order. Honourable Member, what's your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, I just mentioned to him, I am the complainant. I put a complaint, and it's been there for 1 year now.
Honourable Member, your point of order is in order. Allow the Minister to continue.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Let me just also advise our good honourable member. I'm a legislator. What you're referring to is operational matter. I will have to ask the Commissioner and identify if that has been formally lodged. And I thank you for highlighting that. Also, it's important to know that when you ask about the liquor licensing, that's the responsibility of the provincial government. You are part of the provincial government. You should take responsibility, invoke that. It's part of your Provincial Executive Council meeting. Now you may regulate him. Not just you, all of us. Liquor is a challenge for all of us. And I thank you also for highlighting some of the scenarios that have actually transpired on Bougainville. Law and order, Mr. Pluimolgata. When it comes to you asking about data, we're not going to look back and say we have not done enough in the past. What I'm going to tell you that now is that as part of this Mara Peroso government, we have made tremendous efforts in terms of our intelligence. We have started strong collaboration with the United States to help us with strengthening our intelligence. And that's a step that we are taking forward now into the future for a better PNG come 2025, celebrating our independence 50th anniversary. So we're working closely with our intelligence from the United States, the country that you highlighted. They've got the ability and capability and understanding of the type of support they will provide to us to ensure that we have enough programs and skill set to be able to provide a sound advice for government. And everything that we must be doing moving forward as a government must be based on intelligence. And that has been one of our biggest challenges that we've faced. Apart from the obvious frontline lack of policing in terms of our numbers, you may not change the numbers, believe me, overnight, but Mara Peroso government, you may start in recruitment pinis. Police department, you may ask him, you may all get too long. You may partner one-time police or sign him MOU. And I thank members that have reached out with the department to sign an MOU for our reservists. We want to encourage all districts and provinces, particularly districts, to utilize your law and order component of your DSIP to now activate your reservist. Hopefully, you can actually activate a quota of about 100 per district. That will automatically increase. If we have 96 districts, you can increase them 9,600 immediately going forward in, when we celebrate our 50th anniversary. So this is what we're doing already. And so when you are asking of our plans going forward, I will be bringing a bill in tomorrow that will even help our policemen to elevate how we are going to counter certain situations that we deem to be an act of terrorism. And I will expect all of us to support that bill going forward. Hopefully I've identified and I've answered your questions. If I have missed out on any of your questions, I'll kindly ask if you can write forward it to me and I can answer it accordingly. Thank you, Honourable Member.
We have a supplementary.
Deputy Speaker, the question was about the escalation of law and order in Papua New Guinea. And my question is about the existence of the vetting committee at the police headquarters at Konedobu. There's a vetting committee whose function consists of very senior policemen whose job is to vet complaints affecting white-collar criminals, important leaders, members of parliament, ministers, departmental heads, etc. My question is simple. That seems to create a separate track of criminal investigation for the leaders, the well-to-do, the white-collar ones, and the ordinary people on the street. May I ask the minister to show to this parliament where, in what law, there is provision for us to set up two separate investigating systems, one for the well-to-do, the leaders, the important people, and one for the ordinary people. Just show me the law. That's all. Show us the law. Show it to the people of Papua New Guinea so we know it's justifiable in law. If not, is that part of the bottleneck created, sanctioned, endorsed by the government to protect its own kind, therefore leading to the escalation of crime at the high level, leading to the dilution of respect for the top leadership of this country and the people taking the law into their own hands? Tell me where it says in the law you can do that. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister for Internal Security.
And if not, can you undertake to disband it right now?
Honorable Minister for Internal Security.
Thank you, Honorable Koa Longutla. Question you ask him, Member Blong Sinasina Yangamul. The question beforehand is, I believe, is administrative. Administrative. Now, you may appreciate there are many layers of challenges that any complaints may face at all levels. So this vetting process is just to ensure that there's no collaboration of any sort, on any sort. And that's across all leaders, not just what you implying. So you may all get that. Any staff law protecting you may all get that. So it's an administrative process taken up by police headquarters. Thank you.
I don't need protection. If there's anything against me, please arrest me. You are a former police minister. So if you've got anything against me, I'm free to come in and account for myself. The point is about the distinction, not between us leaders, but between the leaders and the people. That's what I'm asking about. Why should there be a special system, double standards for the leaders, and the people would have to put up with a separate system and procedure that is sanctioned by law? But the track that is now set up for the leaders appears not to be supported by any legal framework. That's the question. Show us the law.
Honorable Member, I think I heard from the Minister is answering the question that you have asked and you have raised a point of order on it. Unless, Minister, you have anything to respond to that?
Deputy Speaker, a good member would appreciate this has been around for almost a decade. So it's an administrative process.
The Honorable Governor for Morobe.
Thank you for the leave you granted for me to ask a series of questions. Mr. Acting Speaker, I will direct my series of questions to the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister for Lands and Physical Planning. Before I ask those questions, Minister, no offense, these are matters which come to my office, and I am mandated to speak on their behalf and raise those questions so that you can answer them. That is why I'm doing it, and I hope that you don't take it personally. Mr. Speaker, first of all, my first question to the Minister is that the Morobe Provincial Government, Provincial Executive Council, has appointed the Provincial Land Board. Equally so, we have appointed Provincial Fiscal Land Board, fiscal planning dealing also with the land. We appointed some 2.5 months ago. And those matters, decision of the Provincial Executive Council was delivered to your Honourable Minister's office. And to this date, no endorsement has come. And matters in relation to lands in the city of Lae, Morobe province, has been dealt with by that board. It's important that the Morobians will protect their land. The leaders appointed by their government will protect their land. And it's important that that board is endorsed by your office in accordance with the Land Act, which never happened. 2.5 months have gone. Mr. Minister, that is my first question to you. Second question, Mr. Speaker, is in relation to the Land Act. Land Act Section 72 gives you the power, the minister the power, discretionary power to give the land to an applicant which you consider it should be. You have that power under Section 72. There is a complaint that you have exercised those power and many of the land in the city of Lae has been granted to people seeking the leasehold pursuant to Section 72. There is alarming rate. And this prevents those people who got the land of money who want to invest in the city of Lae, but they cannot do it because many of those land, as complained, has been given to those applicants by virtue of Section 72. Can you explain to the people of Morobe and Papua New Guinea through this parliament, if that is the case, surely that's not a good precedent. That's not a good precedent. Number 3 question, Mr. Minister, is that there is a complaint that's going around in the Lands Department. In the Lands Department, that all the files of the Lands Department supposed to be in the Lands Department's record. For the interest people who want to find out the status of that land, or they're applying for that land, they should check it with the Lands Department. Now, there is a complaint. Many of the files are been taken to your office, the Minister's office. And as we know, by virtue of the Land Act, Mr. Speaker, the Land Act is there. The Land Act is there to keep the record of all the state land or customary land registered under the Land Act. The record must be with the Lands Department, not in the Minister's office, unless there is an order of the court or whatever powers you can have it. So there is the complaint that people coming from all over Papua New Guinea, coming to the Lands Department only to find that in making sheds of whatever land they're interested in, only to find that those land piles are kept in your office. That is the complaint, because the Lands Department officers say, something started with Minister. Something started with Minister. That's what they're saying. And the Lands Department's office is an office to keep the record of the lands in this country, not the minister's land. Of course, if anything related to the minister, sure, but otherwise the record must be returned to the Lands Department. So, Minister, there is that serious complaint coming. And me man, me worry. It's coming, you country blumina, it's a kind of allegation come, me worry. So, miragim you back him to this country, but sorry, through this parliament, now country by Harim good. So, would you like give him long report or something come? You like me to give you further questions similar to you by written questions? Then I'm prepared to finish those to you. Mr. Speaker, thank you for allowing me to ask those questions.
The Honourable Minister, Deputy Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament. Thank you, my good Governor of Morobe, for the important questions. Must I say, most of them innuendos and assumptions. The first question, for the Physical Planning and the Lands Board, they are recommended by provincial governments from the PC. But the Lands Minister, under the law, has a final say on approving it. When the Lands Minister sees that the PC recommendations of the persons that are entrusted to very important boards like the Physical Planning Board and the Lands Board, I must make certain people of fit and proper persons are on those boards. Lo lei planti ground before lo time blow me. This la ground of man salim number na misuse him number under your watch, Mr. Governor.
Honourable Deputy Prime Minister, we have a point of order.
With respect,
Honourable Governor, what's your point of order?
point of order is that the minister's office has not responded. 2.5 years gone. You have not responded. In the term that you're trying to explain in this parliament, you have not responded.
Honourable Governor, are you...
So you be careful.
Are you raising a point of order or you're debating this? And now, Honourable Governor, I would like to ask you to withdraw that word saying you must be very careful. I think it's not, can you withdraw that?
Yeah, with respect, sorry, Speaker, I withdraw.
Thank you.
With respect.
Honourable Minister.
If I may finish. So when you have boards, various boards, and the problem in this country is when we appoint people who are not fit and proper persons on many of these boards. That's why we have problems everywhere. So in my position as also the Lands Minister, I must make certain that these boards are of fit and proper persons. So I have written back to the good PEC to ensure that we have fit and proper persons appointed to the Morobe Provincial Government Lands Board and the Physical Planning Board.
Honourable Governor, what's your point of order again?
The law is very clear. Doesn't require fit and proper person. That's not the term of the law. That's not the term of the law.
Honourable Governor.
So you can't say that that is the...
Honourable Governor, I will ask you to resume your seat.
Right? Terms of the law, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Governor, I will ask you to resume your seat. I will not entertain a point of order from you again. You seem to be debating your own question raised to the Minister, and Minister is trying to get to the question. Whatever answer that he responds, this is time of you to receive an answer from a Minister. The Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As I said earlier, fit and proper persons is an essential requirement. And as members of Parliament and representatives of people, that must be our priority. We cannot just put him like Blumiet or want to country number out inside legislation or something. There must be fit and proper people. So having had a look at it, na mino blo, Wabek or CP or Simbu, mi blo leia. Na mi sa one more money blo appoint him. This little man appoint him, for example, a representative, blo makam, lo place blo me. You blo makam as a representative blo ai. I'm wrong. IE people have represented, it must be of IE. All this like kind something we must swak him. Because problem, time Mr. Blolay, plenty ground blolay or kind man see nothing. It is my job to fix it. It is my job to assist you, Mr. Governor, to ensure that we fix it. Plenty recreational ground blow me lo papon compound, lo people blow me. Before me come up member, maybe in Sanablo court because it was given it was given to a construction company, a recreational oval. He got Barrett drainage system lo Lake City. Lands board, he been give him lo on man nothing. He got playing park na fields. Lands board give him nothing. The provincial Morobel Lands Board. Physical planning structures that are approved by incompetent people, putting all antaplo structures where back up in road reserve or something. So it is every right that we must appoint good boards, and that is my obligation and duty to my people. All get a board from each province that comes. Mipla all get a minister must make certain Mipla uphold him this integrity blow this whole board. So he must get good man, so our country can move forward. That is a responsibility of a member of parliament and a minister, and for all politicians, including governors. We must appoint good people on every board. So this old man come here, me come man, and me no salo this old man. I know every person that was recommended. So me salim talk go back, me write him pass, so I can explain him. Educational qualification, or must explain him. Qualification, na fit and proper persons. Na representative, must representative straight. That is why me salim go back, good Governor Blumi. As soon as it comes back, and I am happy, then I will allow a good board that represents the future of our children, so all can take carriage, allocate him land properly, in a physical zoning properly inside the city, blomipla lole. Because time me lose work politician penis, me go back now about the street. Now me must look him something, walk on mark, blomi must go straight. And walk blow you me all together. You know, put you one talk na kind incompetent man inside this kind board. So this is one and first. Until I'm satisfied, that board will sit until me looking fit and proper person become. Number two, laws will grant. Laws will grant law, section 72, me talk finish, planting ground blomipla. Ogada field lole, Kamkumung field was given to a construction company. Papang compound field given to a construction company. Naplol Barrett number given to her. I have a whole list there, Mr. Speaker, that I can furnish to Parliament and the Office of a Good Governor. The old airport, a lot of allocated land that was gone. So it is my duty, as also the member for Ley, to recoup all this. We have gone to court, we have won through the Supreme Court and got the land at Kamkumung Field back, so it can go and be granted to the Ley City Authority to hold it in trust for the people and children of Ley. The East Taraka Field to be held in trust for the people and children of Ley. Or Barrett na road reserves or Manstilimia to be held in trust for the children and people of Ley. And that is for every single province. Mipla must walk in this la. So you may put him on ground or something here, Mipla must walk in good. And that needs good people there. So the granting powers, I do not give willy-nilly. Section 722, I grant to appropriate government authorities, and that is granted to the Ley City Authority. And those land, I can furnish a list to them. And for that case also, I've been taken to court, my good governor, for the market that I'm building for the people of Ley with OSAID, that your office has taken me to court, a market for our people of Ley. When we come to number three, the titles, land titles that are coming to the office. When I left the office and went to the elections as a lands minister, I delegated all my ministerial powers to my ministerial delegate, which is the lands secretary. So for 2 years now, me no him lands minister powers, me delegate him pinis, law appropriate department head because me go politics. No good me lose na me win me no save. So as those powers are still delegated and lies with the minister, with the secretary for lands. Lands titles and files are not to be kept in the minister's office. And you are right, my good governor. It should not be kept there. A lot of people inside the lands office all can talk title stuff, but if you go there now, and I welcome you to visit my office, there's no such files being kept in those offices. There's no such files being kept in those offices. The files that were brought up was under a Ley City Authority program to assist our people of Tent City, our people of 1 mile, 2 mile, 3 mile, 4 mile, our people of 7th Street, little people who have not had a land title for 40 years. The Lake City Authority has partnered with them, and now we have granted 400 titles through the Lands Board. Mibla give him 400 Tranguman Mary, all wait 40 years, all Simza title. Now Mibla ready Napla 350 title, blow Liglik Man Mary. So all two can kisi title. But it's very hard to get a land title if you're a little person. So for Lea, Mipla Wokim, nearly 800, and the Lake City Authority has spent $1 million kina to achieve that ambition. That is probably the file they're talking about. That is for the people of Leh itself. But apart from that, we don't keep files there. We are also undergoing, we appreciate that concern, we are undergoing a major reform in electronic titling and records for the Department of Lands. And let me point out, for the good years of our parliament, that since I took over as the lands minister, our collection records and filing systems, we had a collection of 9 million kina, 9 million kina for the whole country. My good parliament, today as we sit, a collection, lands has surpassed those expectations in 4 years by an electronic, the new reforms we're putting in, by an electronic payment system. As of last week, we collected 51 million in direct payments of rates, and a total, including stamp duties, of 170 million kina. We grew it from 9 million to 170 million kina with not one toya expended. That is the way all departments should be working, and that is what I stand for. My good governor, my office will not be compromised. I respect you as my governor, but I will not compromise my integrity on assumptions until I see a good board and a physical planning board that sits before me for the good people of our children in Leh. Thank you, Parliament. Thank you, Governor.
The Honourable Governor for ECP.
Deputy Speaker, before I ask my question, can I extend question time, please? Sick leave.
Honourable members, the question is that the question time be extended for 20 minutes. Those in favour, please stand.
Hey, sana. My goodness.
No, got it.
Honourable members, you may be seated. Honourable Governor, you do not have a support to extend, so
I'm all right. Thank you, Mr.
allow
Speaker.
you to ask your
Meeting
question.
more let me ask him, but I'm all right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Deputy Speaker, thank you long. Giving people long ECP time long, ask him some important question. This la question and me ask him because me reading my for report last week, that's all let me come out now. Me got some ask him where me concern him or people long ECP. Ask him, you know, got talk sabe by go long. Minister belong finance, good minister belong finance. And walk out, so maybe Prime Minister I can I reserve? Oh, sorry, let me come back.
Honourable Governor, we have the Minister back, so as soon as he resumes his seat, I will allow you to ask your question.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker.
Honourable Minister, you have a question from the Governor, so I'll allow Governor ask your question.
Thank you. Ask him, you know, talk sabi go long, good Minister belong finance na me. Lo make him easy also, me ask him lo fix na figures na me current budget book belong government ikam na. Me refer Minister I go long Volume 3A Public Investment Program, where an need long department long aim. Sample money ibini go inside where is supposed long go long all province na all district. And I need long 206 04860 got public infrastructure development program where 220 million. Mipla or member of the parliament been talk right long last year for this year's budget, where all the provinces supposed to kiss him 10 million each. Now me like talk sawe all some time me check long my for me looking more some plenty blood display payment you go out finish. Now people belong ECP like sawe all some number one question. 10 million belong people belong ECP ki stop yet or you play give him lo sample and arbla line. Enough all people belong ECP ki harim stop. Suppose minister enough lo talk sawe. 10 million belong only go away. Number two, ask him, long bien him can same budget book where account 206-058 06010 District Infrastructure Development Program, where 480 million emi sit down, where lo look sawe blomi, desla money emi suppose lo go lo 1 district antap na abrusim despla PSIP na DSIP also kisim. So, me like ask him despla, ask him also. Me got 6 district inside long, Isipik province. Desala 5 million lo 1 district long Isipik emi go piniso. You play holy mieto, no God, please, enough you talk sawe na people lo Isipik you can harim. Nothing all narbla district to isinda no like sawe only kisim despla. Desala 5 million or no God. Me talk sawe ken also account 206-06412 District Infrastructure Kina for Kina Program. 456 million. Total of over 1.1 billion kina where misina loam all bucket where stop underneath long. Look out long minister. There's like kina for kina 456 million. Enough minister it talks away usai through ikisim inside lo this la parliament. So me blow all get I can sawe na people blow ECB too you can sawe. Osem only got scale blow inside lo hapo no got because no good nupla budget come back na ipla by put him same something. Na giamani people belong Isipik, na people belong Isipik by Togiasa lo here. Na still now, 4 more weeks by account closed. So me like sawe. Blow people blow Isipik by come or no got. Na suppose no got. In a good plan minister he talks sawe why? But you plan on have giving people belong Isipik. Or something where you put him inside the budget, well on name law. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker.
The Honourable Minister for Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Me taking this platform, lo talk thank you, lo Governor of East Civic. These are appropriation bills that the finance department normally pays to those who are appropriated inside the budget. As such, East Civic provincial government is entitled to receive 10 million. And your government was given 7 million already from my records.
Honourable Minister, resume your seat. We have a point of order from
my point of order is that I think the minister is probably referring to PSIP. I have a full view of all the accounts in my province from the provincial government all the way through to the PHA. I've got all the figures, and there is no such thing as a 7 million payment out of a warrant, out of a CFC, that would come from the account 04860. I mean, not looking.
Honourable Governor,
can give me copy.
Your point of order is in order. I think that's the minister's response. I'll allow him to complete his answer.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Okay, everybody is entitled to receive 10 million, including the Kina for Kina and infrastructure grants. And as my record shows, that every East Civic provincial urban members and districts have received Kina for Kina. My record shows that every members of parliament. Let me finish. I was listening when you were asking the question.
Honourable Minister, we have a point of order. Let me allow him to raise his point of order.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Amuri Draiki.
Now the Minister is saying that he's already paid to ECB.
Honourable Member, when you ask for a point of order, you have to wait for me to ask you to talk. Don't talk before the Speaker.
Thank you,
Honourable Member, go ahead.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Sa Minister, I'm talking about Minister sa mga province na district is in Binis. Enough tomorrow I'm currently preparing to talk sa Lumibla. Hamos sa province is in Binis, hamos sa district is in Binis. Sa Romania I'm talking about. Ako rin nagapan for me asking question. Three black and money. Enough I'm giving more details for tomorrow. The paper I'm going to go to look him. That's my question.
Honourable Member, I will rule your point of order out of order. It's like you are asking a supplementary question. So.
It's a point of order because I want
the Minister have noted, so I'll let him to answer during his question time. Honourable Minister.
Thank you for that question as well.
I've tried my best to give every member, kina for kina and retired, everyone. Those who are complaining here, those who stay in Mosby and not going into the electorates to spend those DSIPs and PSIPs, because almost 4 billion, Honorable Governor, I was listening when you were asking me the question. Let me finish it first.
Honorable Minister, we have a point of order.
Ask him lo PSIP or DSIP. Me ask him you lo Capital Investment Program, PIP, Volume 3A, which is not PSIP, which is not DSIP. I am asking about Provincial Infrastructure Program, budget item 04860. Desala ino PSIP, desala ino DSIP. Desala and Provincial Infrastructure Program, and be different.
Honorable Governor, thank you. Point of order, Blue I think Minister now also start him back in Blongem. So if we go ahead, I think he will make mention. So I'll allow the Minister to go ahead and respond.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Thank you for the supplementary question again from the Governor. Some of the PIB projects are part under national planning.
Go ahead, Minister.
Finance only manages the expenditure part of it. So I have no answer to answer that very beautiful question from the Governor. And I will get a comprehensive answer for him tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, our question time has lapsed. Leader of Government Business.
Mr. Acting Speaker, I ask leave of Parliament to move a motion without notice.
Is leave granted? Leave granted. Leader of Government Business.
Mr. Acting Speaker, I move that Mr. Freddie Kumai be discharged as Deputy Chairman of the Permanent Parliamentary Committee on Public Accounts and that he be appointed Chairman of the committee.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Leader of Government Business.
Deputy Speaker, I move that Parliament adjourn to 10 a.m. tomorrow.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Honorable members, I now adjourn Parliament to tomorrow, 10 o'clock a.m.